Man, this is great. What Trump is doing on Birthright. Oh, this is exactly why Trump was elected. As my good friend Andy McCarthy said, you got to have somebody that's willing to break the furniture. You have to have somebody willing to turn things upside down if you're actually going to get things done. And the left is beside itself today. CNBC's headline, Trump's attack on birthright citizenship is his latest attempt to rile up the GOP base. Everybody say, he can't do that. That's a 14th Amendment. He can't universally, with an executive order, reverse the 14th Amendment. We want to discuss how maybe he can. He's going to run into activist judges that'll turn him down here. But the point is that you need somebody like Donald Trump the 14th Amendment is what grants citizenship to anybody born in America, and it was intended, it goes back to the 1800s, it was intended to grant citizenship to slaves and their descendants. Now, how do you think modern African Americans would feel if the 14th Amendment, which was used to grant citizenship to the slaves and their descendants, is now being used to grant citizenship to anybody who gets into the country just for the purposes of giving birth here? And so this is something that's long been thought to be untouchable. Trump is saying, I think I can fix this with an executive order. And the reason he thinks so is because the Constitution is the final word, folks. The Constitution will actually trump acts of Congress, statutory legislative acts of Congress. If they pass something unconstitutional, the Constitution survives. If the case can be made, and people believe it can be, that the 14th Amendment was never intended to grant birthright citizenship to illegal immigrants who are under the jurisdiction of another country, then Trump can do it. But as I say, he's going to run into a buzzsaw with a bunch of activist judges who will shut this down before the end of the day if he actually tries it. But the point is, it needs to be addressed. Every effort that Trump has made to fix this problem has been met with opposition everywhere. And yet, we have another caravan, this time with people loaded with guns and bombs now that are heading across southern Mexico with their intention to get to the United States. And the drive-by media, this is just being done to upset Trump's base. The implication is that you people in Trump's base are just teetering on the verge of sanity. And Trump knows it, and he's trying to send you over the edge with this stuff to make sure you go vote. It's, again, a classic expression or illustration of how they haven't the slightest idea who the people are that voted for Donald Trump and who remain supportive of Donald Trump. We'll get started delving into the Trump claim that he can defy the Constitution and end birthright citizenship with an executive order. It would not be defying the Constitution. That's how CNN headlines the story. It would not be defying the Constitution, and that's the interesting aspect of it. But let's get to birthright citizenship. This, I think, is a follow-on to Donald Trump following through on one of the primary commitments he made as a candidate, which I think is responsible for his election, and that is his promise to build a wall to get a handle on illegal immigration and to stop it because of its forever changing consequences to this country. But primarily with Trump, it's a law and order issue, as it is with all the rest of us. It's simply a law and order issue. We have laws defining legal and illegal immigration. We have a political party that is pushing illegal immigration, and actually both parties have, to the extent of promoting programs that have amnesty involved for all of them, and both parties have different reasons for supporting it. In the meantime, the very definition of what America is and what our culture is under assault. And the politicians in Washington don't seem to care because they think they're always going to be insulated from whatever negative changes result. And in some cases, it's even worse than that. The left wants those changes. The left wants this country overthrown from the days of its founding. To the left, America's illegitimate. It's immoral. It's indecent because we were a slave nation and we discriminated, and the original white privilege was the founding fathers. There were no founding mothers, only founding fathers. They're a bunch of white, privileged, rich white guys. They set up a country for themselves and their descendants. So goes the argument, leaving everybody else out. And it's time to overthrow that and change it. And it's a serious movement, and you can trace the educational roots for this back to the 1970s. 1970s is an offshoot of the radicalism of the 60s is where the changing premise of education for America's kids actually began.